Hello and welcome back to the channel. I really didn't want to make a video today, not because, well, sometimes there's not a lot going on in the garden. Sometimes you're prohibited from doing things in the garden because of the weather. Today, well, I just kind of wanted to get on with gardening, and I really didn't want to worry about doing a video, what the content of the video should be, or even trying to entertain you people with my zany antics. So I got my gloves on, I got a tool, and I got a bucket. And I collected a few buckets full of weeds. That's right, weeds. So today I'm going to touch briefly, and this is going to be a short video, on some of the tools that I use or have used or continue to use in my arsenal against the weeds. Now, I was looking at all my tools, and I discovered that probably about 70% of the tools that I have for gardening are weeding tools. Some of them can be multi-purpose, but for most part, many of them are weeding tools. Sorry about that. The first one I was using today, and this is probably my favorite weeding tool, is a hori-hori knife. If you don't have a hori-hori knife, go get yourself a hori-hori knife. I suggest you get yourself a good quality one. Sorry, loud frog if you hear that. I suggest you get yourself a good quality one. This one is, I think, some sort of Japanese thing. Nusuka. I don't know. They don't sponsor this, but it is a good quality hori-hori knife. There are many out there, not all the same, but just get yourself a good quality hori-hori knife. One word of advice: hori-hori knives, especially good ones, can be sharp. They have a serrated edge and they have a smooth edge. Okay, the smooth edge is not knife sharp, but it's sharp enough to open up your skin. I know, I've done it. This one also has a measuring, so you can actually use this as a digging tool, and I believe hori-hori is Japanese for digging, or digging. So anyways, you can use this as a digging tool, so you could use like your regular trowel, although it's not really trowel-ish because it has a very narrow blade. But, you know, for weeding, this is fabulous. You just get in there, stab around the roots, pull up your stuff, life is good. Dandelions, I like to go nice and deep, pry it up, get the whole root of the dandelion. If you don't get the whole root of the dandelion, you know that those damn dandelions will come back in the same spot. This one is a Cape Cod, I believe it's Cape Cod weeder. And essentially, it's like a mini hoe that you just sort of, I can't get a good angle on this, but you're just going to sort of go along on the ground, and you're going to break up all those roots. This is good for like raised garden beds. And what you do is you just go along in between your plants gently, and you just, in between those rows of whatever you're growing, and you just, take up the weeds. You don't have to pull those weeds up. Once the roots are broken from the ground, they will die. You can leave them there if you want, and they'll fertilize the soil. This one is a dandelion puller. I've never found much use for it. But theoretically, you get in there and pop the whole dandelion out. I've never used it much. And I think a lot of gardeners, you may agree out there, and if you do or don't, leave a comment below, that, yeah, you probably have quite a few gardening tools or even weeding tools that you bought for a specific purpose and you no longer use because you found something better or it's not as useful as you thought it might be. Then I'm going to get to this guy. This guy is a sidewalk weeder, and again, this is sort of I found this to be multi-purpose. Now, it has this sharp little blade, and it's not super sharp, but it's good to get in the cracks of your driveway, sidewalks, that kind of thing. You just rake it along in the ground. You pull up all those stuff. I've actually found it useful here since I really don't have a sidewalk, traditional sidewalk as it were. I found it useful reaching underneath my front deck to get a lot of the vines and the weeds there that are growing up out. Your traditional hoe, this is a Dutch hoe, I believe. Yes, Dutch hoe. And basically you just move this back and forth, again, probably in your raised beds or even in ground beds. And you could use it to break up those weed roots. And again, you could just leave them there to die if you so wish, or you can just pick them up and pull them out. Then they're more of a traditional hoe. And this one, you just rake it along the ground. And again, you can also use this almost as a digging tool. If you were going to be planting something, you can make, what do they call those things? Furrows? Is that what it is? Furrows? If I'm mistaken or wrong, feel free to leave comments below. But nice tool, and a lot of people have that. The next 2, this one is a oscillating hoe. Oscillating hoe. This is also, it's similar to the others. Has a hinge. It rocks back and forth a little bit, and you can get some good leverage on this and clear out your weeds. This next one is probably my favorite for mass destruction. I don't know what the name of this type of hoe is, or even if it has a name. I believe I purchased this from Hodgin Tools, Hodgin Enterprises, something like that. I think they call this their weeder. It has a little fork on the end, if you can see that right there. And I guess you could use that to pick up something, maybe. But what I like to do is just, you know, if I want to clear out large areas or even like pull up grass. Let's say I'm pulling, I did this in Sayville. When I lived in Sayville, I was creating the beds. So what I'd do is I'd go around with the sod cutter, I'd cut out my swaths, and then I use this tool to break up the roots underneath, and I could pull up whole slabs of grass. So this is a pretty nice tool. The one thing I would say you have to be a little careful of is, and I don't know if you can really see this in the camera, it has a bit of a bevel on the blade here, which is nice. What I found is that the more you pull it, especially back towards you, it almost acts like an airplane wing, and it wants to dive deep, if that makes any sense. It wants to go deeper into the soil than you may particularly want it to go. So you just have to be a little cautious about that. But it's a great weapon of mass destruction when it comes to weeds or taking up things. Gloves. Gloves are always important for various reasons. As I've discovered, you don't know when and where those fire ants are going to pop up. So if you're not wearing a glove, they may start biting your hands. Sometimes you don't know where sharp, pointy things are in the ground. You don't want to stab yourself. If you're using a hori-hori knife, gloves are, I would say, very important, because if you slip, if you miss, if you're not paying attention, rather you hit the glove than slice open your finger. So that's really about it for today. Like I said, I didn't feel like making a video per se today. I just wanted to get on with what I was doing, which was I was doing some weeding, and I'm looking over now at some sunflowers which are growing wonderfully, and I'll show you that in a future video. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. You know the drill, and if you don't know the drill, welcome to the channel. Click that bell icon to be notified to see what zany video I come up with next. But I have some sunflowers that I'm looking at that probably need to be supported in some way. I may wind up doing a video on that. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But hit that bell icon to be notified when I do put up the next video. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.